Hello and welcome to Meetings with Remarkable People. I'm Jesse Sterling. We have a very remarkable person with us today. Her name is Susan MacDonald. She's from Ontario by way of Nova Scotia, the Maritimes, and you have an amazing story of surviving, of discovering, of teaching, and of healing. And I'm hoping you can share that with us today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything that you want to know is yours.
Well, I was just intrigued. Your book is here as a Canadian bestseller, Balance, Nature's Way to Heal Your Body. And if I could just, it's the only excerpt I'm going to read from it. It's actually the couple sentences on the back there. It says, Susan MacDonald was an unassuming wife and mother, lived what most consider a normal life, eating a standard North American diet, getting regular medical checkups, although she suffered from a series of medical complaints. None were considered overly serious. They were treated in the usual way each time they occurred, until a fateful day in December 2002 when she heard those most dreaded words, "You have terminal cancer," quickly followed by an explanation that included no reasonable offer of treatment nor hope. So if you can, take me back to December 2002. What was that meeting like with the doctor and that diagnosis?
Well, it was strange because back then I was so used to in my life when something came up that was dramatic of putting it away. And basically I was in a little shock that day and I did put it away. And actually it wasn't until I got editing the book and my publisher asked me the exact same thing as you're asking me now. That's when I actually faced it more so and realized the fear and all of that I had pushed away and pushed aside. But there was, yeah, a lot of fear and then the decision that I was just going to live and that there was a way. And came home and got my family together and talked to them, and we started that minute researching. We first researched what the disease was about, the type of cancer I had. I was in 4th stage. I was quite ill at the time, and I had to sit by the computer sometimes with a blanket around me and a bowl beside me so I could throw up in it because I was that sick.
Really?
So it was pretty dramatic, but it was wonderful to be able to learn, and as I learned and realized, I got more excited and realized that it had been out there since, centuries, that you could get well naturally. And so it was amazing to learn that, and so it gave me hope, and each person I met and each book I read gave me more hope and more interesting things to learn and more ways to get my body to a better level. And
so as you started accumulating this knowledge and doing your research, at some point, did you make the internal decision, I have to document this, I have to write my book?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first I thought of workshops, that I have to start teaching people. And so I started putting together something for a workshop. And then when I actually started to teach a workshop, which was in 2003, not long after I was diagnosed and started to get well, everybody kept saying the same thing, it's not enough information, it's not enough information. And so what I accumulated, by that time I was able to start putting it into a book form, and so it was amazing. And now when I do a lecture and people have read my book, they still would like more information because it's just so amazing to them. And you can have a whole audience spellbound, and it's just so marvelous to know that they're sitting and listening and they're paying attention.
We're going to get into sharing some of this information from the book, but first I just want to get back to your specific symptoms you were feeling. What brought you into the doctor that day? You mentioned you had some nausea and you were there getting some cold shivers, but what were you feeling that led to this diagnosis?
Well, I actually had a tumor that was visible in my jaw, and they'd misdiagnosed it for about a year and a half. And so then I ended up having tumors that came out the size of eggs that were in my groin area. And so I had a biopsy. And so what happened was I got the call to come in to see the doctor. And so I had an idea that something was serious at that point in time, but never any idea that it was serious enough to say that I had terminal cancer. And the reason why it was terminal was it was in, not just in 4th stage, but it was in my upper and lower diaphragm. It was affecting my bone marrow, it was in my stomach and my thymus, and in all the lymph nodes in my upper and my lower part of my diaphragm.
And you were 62 years old?
No, I was 52 years old.
52, thank you.
Yeah.
So, but for a lot of people, this might have been a death sentence to them.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think my past and what I'd learned growing to that point in my life had put me in a place where it became a gift instead of an illness.
So something sparked within you that said, well, this is one opinion, and it's valid, and I'll take it, but I'm also going to look for other alternative ways to analyze this situation. Where was the first place you looked? Was it a specific book? Was it the internet? You mentioned you sat down with your family.
Well, I sat down with my family, and the first thing we did was go on the internet to find out exactly. There's 29 types of lymphatic cancer, and so to find out exactly what my type meant, what the type they diagnosed me with meant. And so that was the first thing. And then I went to see a naturopath that I'd been introduced to and saw once or twice, but just ignored because I kind of fluffed it off because I didn't really understand natural medicine at that point. So I went to see him, and he gave me a book called How to Fight Cancer and Win. And it was written in the 80s. And so I read that, and I got a part out of that, which was really great. Taught me about flax and quark and how the combination can help your body to get well on a different level. And so I started to do that, which led me to another book, and then another person. And once you got your body so that you're stopped using processed foods and bleached flours and all of the chemicals, your body is able to actually talk to you almost. It's like your gut instinct becomes stronger. And so then who you meet, you pay attention to. And you realize that they're there for a purpose. You're either to teach them or they're to teach you. And so I started to understand that.
So we're already getting at some of the basic premises. One of them is obviously junk food bad,
yes.
Processed foods bad, the three white killers, white flour, white sugar, salt.
That's right.
All potentially bad. Tell me about the flaxseed cork. So this was the first book now you would have read. What does that do for the body?
Well, flax, it's actually a liquid that I used. And when you mix 2 tablespoons of flax liquid and you mix it with a 1/4 cup of cork, the combination actually helps to increase your oxygen level, and cancer steals your oxygen. And so right away you're building up your oxygen level, but it's also building up your immune system because it's working with interferon and interleukin-2 in your body and raising that as well. And Joanna Budwig, back in the 50s, actually was a research scientist that put that together, and she used to get terminally ill cancer patients out of the hospital and help to get them over cancer by doing that and other things naturally, yeah.
And you've also discovered some of these remedies go back hundreds of years.
Absolutely.
This isn't cutting-edge research. This is actually stuff you have to look backwards to discover.
That's right. Absolutely. And it's been there, and it's just been covered, and it's just so amazing to realize what your body can do. And not just about cancer, but about all other illness and disease. And so the book is about preventative, but it's also about other illnesses and disease, because your body's just basic, and if you can get it to balance, then it'll cure itself.
What are some other really basic things you started doing on your specific path to wellness?
Well, one of the things I did was I started to rebound, which is a little mini trampoline. And when your lymphatic system, well, any part of your body is ill, you need to start flushing your lymphatic system, because it doesn't have a pump like your blood does. And so women don't breathe deep enough, so they get illness quicker. And so one of the things, when you learn to breathe deep, which is another thing I did at the same time, you learn to move your lymphatic system so that you flush the toxins out of your body at a faster rate. And so the mini rebounder did that as well. I also gave up dairy at the time, and I still haven't gone back to it, but dairy actually is for growth, and it'll grow your cells pretty quickly. And when you have cancer cells, you don't want that happening. So I gave up dairy, and I actually gave up red meat because your liver is impaired with any illness. And my blood type was A, so I wasn't required that I really needed to have red meat. And so it would help my liver to get better functioning faster by able to go off of that and get my liver back to a place where it needed to be to heal myself.
So none of this is radical information. I mean, your doctor will tell you, watch how much dairy intake you have and watch your red meat. And I think that's a key message to our viewers as well, is some people might have already been watching this, oh my gosh, the no meat thing, the no dairy, that's too much for me. Maybe reduction, maybe just reduce, maybe just watch how much you're eating.
Absolutely, and different times, because if you eat after 7 o'clock and your body is already impaired with an illness, that it's too much pressure on your liver, and you're trying to get your liver to regenerate so that it will help to heal. Your liver has 500 functions. And so once those functions start stopping, then you can get all sorts of illnesses and disease that unfortunately doctors don't relate to that. And so if you want to get any of them back, whether it's, like I said before, arthritis and high blood pressure, and there's just so many things that you can fix by fixing your liver. Yeah.